Do you have a great admiration for people who don't even exist? Do you know histories of fake worlds better than you know your own? Do you geek out? If so, geek out with us. Here, now. It's the Geek for All show.
Hey, it is indeed the Geek for All, and I am your host, Geekmeister. So we came out with an episode last week, but that was recorded almost a month before that because my computer decided to take a massive shit on itself. So we're back after having been gone for a while, and I am joined by my co-host Winchester,
Hello.
who is now married.
Yes.
Yay!
Congratulations.
And Lex is hanging out with us again.
Hey.
Hello. We gotta actually talk about this wedding for a second because it was absolutely fantastic.
Thank you.
So it was a Star Wars themed wedding.
Yes.
On May the 4th.
Yes.
At the Adler Planetarium.
Yes.
Damn.
Yes.
No, this was serious. I wouldn't have pegged the planetarium's cafe section to be such an awesome spot for a wedding to be done. But holy shit, because I didn't realize it's just a bunch of glass looking out at Lake Michigan and the Chicago skyline. It's
fucking gorgeous.
Oh my god,
Yeah.
It was insane. And I think the best part was that all of the bridesmaids had R2-D2 dresses.
Yes, they did. And my officiant had a Darth Vader dress.
Yes. Actually, no, you're right. I kind of forgot about that. That was the best dress.
Yes.
Well,
was.
okay, your dress was definitely the best, actually. You looked fantastic.
Thank
and I'm
you.
not just saying that. You looked great.
Thank you.
But no, as far as the geeking factor goes, no, the Darth Vader dress wins.
Yeah.
Oh my god. That was spectacular. Yeah, no, so congratulations.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
It's been a long time coming. Her and her now husband have been together 11 years.
11 years in April.
Oh man.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, it was, not many people said congratulations to him. It was more like, well, about time, you asshole.
Yes.
But on the subject of Star Wars, since we've been gone, we've had a big teaser come out for Star Wars, and unfortunately, we're trying to. We've heard whereabouts that the old co-host Professor Weirdfuck is back in the country somewhere, and we were trying to get him on, but we just can't wait for this anymore because it's been almost a month since this has been released, and we haven't been able to track him down.
There'll always be time for more weird fuck.
There will always be time for more weird fuck. And I'm sure he'll have his 2 cents on this whenever we can get him back on here. But there are a lot of indications that some gray Jedi shit or gray Jedi equivalent shit might be going on here. The whole thing opens with I see the darkness and the light, and I see the space where they touch. Okay, well...
I mean, it is bringing balance to the Force, so
Yeah.
I mean, we're still fulfilling that prophecy.
Right? we're still in works on that. It hasn't been balanced. We keep doing this bad guys win. Good guys win. Bad guys win. Well, when's the balancing thing gonna happen? When's shit just gonna kind of be,
You're right, this scale would pretty much suck. Things are going great, and then they're immediately gonna suck again, and then
Yeah.
they go great again, and then they're immediately gonna suck again.
Again. Yeah.
Yeah, it's time for some balance.
And the other really big indication beyond that opening is the closing of it with Luke Skywalker making the statement, "It's time for the Jedi to end."
Yeah.
I'm excited about hearing that line in general, but there's some part of me that refuses to accept that.
It's scary.
I don't want that. I don't like change.
But let's be real here. Luke, in all sense of the word Jedi as a title, Luke was, yes, he was a Force user. He's technically a Jedi. He's not an official.
Like my father before.
Yes, but in terms of going to the temple and being an official law enforcement type Jedi, he's never been one. So he's kind of they didn't exist.
Right.
They don't exist.
So-
in the official terms.
So he was trying to rebuild something that he didn't probably totally understand himself anyway.
Exactly.
And I think he's now starting to realize that there needs to be a new paradigm, sort of, as far as how the Force should be treated and who should be using it. I think it's sort of what's being suggested here, at least. And there's another interesting tidbit. I'm very sorry. I can't remember what video I was watching that pointed this out, but this was one of the more interesting things that I had totally not noticed whatsoever. At the beginning there's some books.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Bound paper. That's new for Star Wars.
That is very new for Star Wars.
Star Wars specifically has always existed in a realm where paper is just not a thing. Like, it was actually one of Lucas's specific things. Like, no, they're in a technologically advanced enough society where paper is meaningless and just simply would not exist. So, we're talking really old artifacts here if they're actually made out of some kind of paper.
I mean, that's well past the Old Republic too, so.
Yeah, no, I mean the Old Republic video games are no exception, which we're still waiting to see if that whole Ren is a reference to Revan and whether or not that
hoping.
mask is. I want it.
Did they say that those were
No, they've been. Oh, Mom's been the word on that.
like if the games and stuff? Because
Yeah,
when
They're
Force
not
Awakens,
canon. They're like
Yeah.
like legends.
Okay.
It's
Yeah,
like
yeah,
they
no,
said.
they're a part of the legend stuff, which is the non-canon stuff.
because when Force Awakens came out, they were like, "Fuck y'all."
It's canon. One dude single-handedly knocks down a Star Destroyer with his force powers, which we've never seen before. I'm sorry, that always made me a little bitter.
Yeah, that's fair. But there is theory though that a lot of the because Disney was smart, they kept certain things in, like the 501st
Yeah.
Yeah.
is still canon. Like, they kept a couple of really specific stories around, and the most important thing is Mandalorians, because of their appearance in like a couple of the cartoon series that are
Like
still
the Clone
canon.
Wars.
Yeah, the Clone Wars series. Their Mandalorians are a thing. Mandalorians are still lore. Boba Fett and Jango Fett's armor are still Mandalorian designed and like use that same metal that isn't really around anymore. Like, that is all still canon, and the Mandalorians are straight up from the Old Republic. That's where the lore on that whole outfit and everything was like built off of. Even though the Mandalorians at that point like had way different looking armor. Like, Mandalorian armor in the Old Republic is like, I guess, like, yeah, the face bit kind of looks like, you know, Boba Fett, but like the rest of that is like a weird hoodie situation that I don't even entirely understand. Like,
But yeah, well, and even they have a Mandalorian flag at Maz's palace. Like, it's a
I didn't see
big
that.
flag. When you do the zoom up shot of her statue, when they get to her cantina place,
Okay.
it's pretty prominent that it's the Mandalorian, like the crest
I'll have to give that a look.
in the flag. And it's not like they zoom in on it, but if you know the crest, and you'll spot it.
yeah, no, I mean, like, so it feels like they're just kind of being like, yeah, we technically have made this not canon, but for reasons, and I hope that those reasons are, well, because we're going to do a series or something, or re-release the games, or we're going to do something with this and make it our own intellectual property and fix plot holes that we feel were there from the original games. Particularly like the KOTOR 2 plot holes, which were numerous.
It's crazy how excited we are to get back stuff that we already had.
Right.
We already went through this, but please let me go through it again. Take even more money.
Yeah, and slap a copyright on it and charge me $50
Exactly.
more.
It's.
But what
I mean,
can
I'm
we
gonna
say?
fall for it, but
Right.
still.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, but you could still do interesting. My tidbit on it is that if they're actually going to do a series, you don't do it from the Jedi's perspective.
No.
You do it from Karth's, Atton's, and you create a third character to kind of round things out, and you start it all the way back at the Mandalorian Wars. The three of them are literally on some mission together in, like, the first episode. Immediately becomes split up, and the rest of the series is 3 different stories simultaneously taking place that occasionally link up but for the most part, it's just them. So when the whole Revan reveal thing winds up happening, you're getting it from Karth's perspective, like, because as an audience, you more than likely know what's going to be coming on that, but you get to watch Karth start piecing shit together.
Right.
That's...
I was going to say something, but I kind of thought Knights of the Old Republic covers it, but I want to see, like, a TV show or a movie just all from the dark side's perspective. I just want to see one guy just fucking shit up for 2 hours.
Well, I mean, that would be a great thing because Atton goes off and joins the Sith after the Mandalorian Wars. So during his story, during that point in time, you would watch him and a bunch of other Sith fuck shit up hard.
Yeah, we don't see them in a group, really.
Right, no, and what's also interesting is that if you get far enough in Atton's story in the games, he was a kind of sub-Force user who kind of did the whole, like, rip information from your mind thing. Another clue back to the whole Ren can do a thing that was specifically a trait of Revan. Like, that was like Revan's big secret tactic is like, oh no, you don't have to tell me. I'm going to rip whatever knowledge I want from your brain. And hopefully you aren't like a pudding mess at the end of it. Hopefully you survive that process. But I don't really care because I'm Darth Revan, so here we go. And
how crazy would it be if they made her like Revan or something, or of Revan's lineage? I would lose my shit.
It'd be great. So and that's the thing. There's some like small hints on that. The KOTOR games are also where the Grey Jedi were first developed and everything. So like, there's so many hints going again. Like, if the Grey Jedi are gonna drop in this movie, there are so many hints leading back to the KOTOR series. And the fans want it. They probably will. They're just going to tease us for another, like, 5 years, basically, as they figure out what exactly they want to do. And they'll just keep throwing in these, like, here's a thing. It's a thing. We're not going to address it, but it's totally here.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was a big thing for news in Star Wars. We also have some last-minute news that came out today. We were going to transition directly into a whole other war taking place on the televisions. But unfortunately, there is a spot of bad news that has come out. So people were wondering why reshoots were happening for the Justice League films, and it was released earlier today or yesterday.
I believe it was today.
It was today. Zack Snyder has unfortunately had to pull out. His daughter committed suicide a few weeks ago, I guess, and they've been keeping it under wraps, but they no longer could just totally deny the fact that something was changing, and which condolences to Snyder and his family, and that is absolutely horrifying and really, really painful. And then there's this whole other because none of this is good news.
No.
But there's this weird silver lining that's now taking place in the DC universe, and that's Zack Snyder had already tapped Joss Whedon to
do like the reshoots.
Yeah, do some reshoots that were already planned. And now that he's stepping away, basically Whedon's just kind of got the reins on everything from this point forward. So he's got all the material that's already been shot, but he's got reshoots already planned. He can reshoot some more things if he wants to.
Yeah, it just has to follow basically in the template that Snyder set up. But I mean, yeah, he can still redo and rewrite some of the scenes there.
So really, really weird, because I am excited to see Joss Whedon take on the DC universe. And I think I'm going to enjoy it more than I think that I've been enjoying. I really haven't been enjoying the Snyder take. Like, I've been really shy about saying that. But this is a really shitty way for this all to come about, and I do feel terribly for how this all came into being. So I guess it's Whedon, please come through with flying colors. Really do something amazing here, because I I feel like a win is really needed here, considering the circumstances.
It would definitely help out the extended universe that they're trying to build here, because they haven't really had a solid hit yet. I mean, not anything to compare with Marvel at the moment. So this would be huge for them.
So a mixed bag, because I am genuinely excited to see Whedon take it on. I am genuinely heartbroken over the way that this is going to be taking place, though. So a bit of sad news there. But this came out today, so we figured we probably should share it. Again, our condolences to the Schneider family. That's awful.
I mean, I wonder if he's gonna take over from here on out, though.
I don't know. I feel like if Schneider wants it back, he's put a lot of work into it.
Yeah.
I would hope that Joss Whedon inspires him to reconsider certain directions that he's taking. If Whedon kind of changes up the pace of things. But unless Schneider wants to just walk away, these are not the circumstances that you just take this away from. No,
right.
You can't do it like that. This is still Schneider's project that he's put. Whether or not we like the results, he's put a lot of time and energy into it, and to just yank it from him under circumstances like this is just no. If he wants to come back and take charge of that again, that's gotta have to be his. But I hope that Whedon does a great job with this film, and I hope that Schneider considers some of the things that Whedon does in this film for future films in this franchise. But yeah, again though, really condolences to the Schneider fan. That suicide is a really terrible thing that is all too common these days.
Yeah.
So anyway, so let's get on to the crux of what we were going to be talking about mostly in this episode, which I wouldn't say is exactly lighter.
No. Not really, no.
But certainly more entertaining. Yeah. Well, I don't get that phrasing back. Anyway.
No.
Sorry. Wow. So let me remove the foot from my mouth here really quickly. And so our the main topic of today is to talk about American Gods.
Yes.
Which is the new Starz adaptation of the Neil Gaiman book. And wow.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
We're only talking about the first episode because some of us are not caught up yet.
That'd be me.
To be fair, I bullshitted my way through most of Iron Fist, so.
Yeah.
My turn.
So yeah, we'll only be talking about the first episode, so if you haven't watched it, it's been 4 weeks. Watch it.
Yeah, no, like we're gonna talk about the first episode next time. We might touch on like some non-spoiler type of things for the other episodes.
We just say in my defense, I got a little caught up with the Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt's new season. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, okay. That's fair.
Yeah, I can't hate on that.
There
No,
we
I
go.
can't
So.
And really, if you haven't subscribed to Starz and you haven't started watching it, I always suggest that you watch it. To be fair, they do a week free trial. Do the week free trial. It's only 8 episodes. It's gonna only be 8 episodes, so it's halfway over. So if you can wait out the 4 weeks without spoilers,
I mean,
do the free trial
honestly,
for a week
do
binge watch it.
Yeah. That's actually is probably the best way to do this if you haven't got the Starz package.
They're already renewed for a second season, so ratings don't matter.
There are other ways to get it. Just saying.
It's true.
There are other methodologies, and as said, they are already renewed for a second season. So whatever, do what you got to do. Anyway, not that we ever condone any
I was talking about that.
Activity.
It's $2.99 on Amazon. Is what I was gonna say. I don't know if these guys.
Okay. All right.
Or wait till the DVDs or other sorts of, I don't know.
Or pirate it.
Yeah. No.
No, I'm just kidding.
No. Totally pirated. No. But yes, so new adaptation. If you're a fan of the books, holy shit. Like,
They did.
We
They
have some qualms.
We've got a couple of qualms. That for the most part, I would say they did really well. Even some of the things. So my first qualm was that Mr. Wednesday didn't quite look how I thought he was going to, and his speech pattern was not at all what I was expecting. Now, I will grant you that it took me about, 4 lines of that book to figure out that it was fucking Odin.
Yeah.
So I was kind of picturing an Odin-esque guy, even though he's like a con artist kind of guy. I was still, picturing somebody a little gruffer and a little bit more slowly spoken.
Yeah.
Where with this, they just went with the con artist thing. He's just a con artist, and he talks very fast, and it threw me for some lines at first. There was definitely, a couple of, lines early on in his conversation with Shadow on the plane that I was kind of I don't know how I like the pace of this, up until he said, "Would you like a job? With the shake of a hand, I could be Mr. Wednesday."
Yeah.
All right. Okay. No, we're good. You can do it that fast. I don't care. That's fine. It doesn't have to be as thought out as I thought it needed to be. Like that. Wow. Okay. That's beautiful.
And when I saw Ian McShane when they released the promo pictures of everybody, and I'm rereading the book, so it's kind of again, like anytime when you reread something, you reread the source material and then watch the adaptation is always difficult. So he doesn't look quite like Wednesday is described, but I think Ian McShane, like you said, we get the grifter, we get the fast talking, charming. We don't get the old god. We get the fuck you. I've adapted. You may think I'm done. I'm so not done.
Right. Yeah. No.
That's just my scam.
Yeah, which is a really interesting. I mean, because he is technically that character in the book. It's just because of the actual lines, you kind of also get the sense of old god stuff. But I it's amazing to hear these very mystic lines just sort of not thrown away, but not done with any sort of real mystique. Just
no, the words are far lighter than the content.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, that's exactly it. Super light context, and then with these very heavy words that just should just be being there are far greater sacrifices that might be made, but instead just very there are far greater sacrifices that just wow.
Yes.
It kind of adds to that godly aspect of him, though, that he could just throw away shit that is just so devastating to us.
Yeah.
Right. No, it does actually, in a weird way, make him much more intimidating than it would otherwise.
So you can do yeah, I can throw an apocalypse at you. It's oh, you don't say that kind of shit lightly, you know?
No, and the fact that he's more generally partnered with Shadow, and in scenes they have quite a few scenes together as partners, and just the dichotomy of Shadow, who's this big hulking guy, and then you've got his boss, who is he's smaller, both in stature and voice, and yet you can tell just there's this presence.
Oh yeah, no, it takes about 30 seconds of watching the two of them to figure out who's in charge.
Who's in charge? Absolutely.
And it's just he could kill you, right? You take a look at it, he could just murder you with one fist.
Yep.
But no, you just get the okay, apparently he's got a bomb detonator and there is nuke in his head or some shit
Suicide Squad over here.
Right, no, that's the level of confidence though that Wednesday just strolls around with the dude.
Yeah.
Just hey, can you do this terrifying thing for me? What? No. Yeah, but you're going to.
Yeah, but you're going to.
But it's going to you are going to do that, so just do. Would you like some cocoa? Would that make you feel better about doing this?
Exactly. Here, I'll get you marshmallows. Do you want marshmallows? You want marshmallows. That's exactly it. So but I think that's kind of rereading the book, I think that's kind of the nice thing is that, you get this whole, you see Wednesday from Shadow's point of view when you first meet him in the book. Because the book is primarily from Shadow, but we get to kind of see both of them.
Right, there's no direct point of view. You kind of get everyone's point of view who's in the scene simultaneously. It really does shift between like who's being looked at and like kind of what their attitude is about it. In a very smooth way. Like, God, the direction of this show is unbelievable, and the editing is phenomenal. Some of the special effects are a little,
they could be better.
But you know what? I'm not totally mad at it though, because just the amount of time and energy that they put in to finding really solid actors to be doing these parts, into the costuming, the set design, everything. It's just so carefully detailed, and you can tell there's just all these small things that just kind of make everything perfect. And it felt very Mad Men in that way. Like, you know, like the most subtle thing, even like an apple in a bowl, is very critical to what is going on and the way everything needs to, especially during so there are for anyone who hasn't seen it, there are these segments. There's two different like side segments that will take place.
Yes.
And one of them is called Coming to America. The other one is called Somewhere in America.
Yeah.
And for some reason they won't name this Somewhere in America. Sometimes it'll just kind of launch into it, which is weird. I don't know why they announce it sometimes and not others during the show. But in any case, those little stories and stuff in particular, because it's a lot of times like they go to period pieces all of a sudden, especially for the Coming to America stories. The costumes are so fucking perfect. Like, just
that first one that they open with.
Yes.
So they open the episode with a Coming to America, which in the book, this Coming to America is a couple chapters into it.
Right.
And they don't start off the book that way. It starts off with Shadow in jail.
Yeah.
And so this Coming to America is about the Vikings, and it's before, like, you know how like when we grew up as kids, you heard about like the Pilgrims, and then you grow up a little bit more, and they're like actually Vikings, and then these are like the Vikings before those Vikings,
Right.
and bringing their god to our shores, and it is just like they begin, and you get almost like a 300 kind of feeling. Because they get on the shore and they go to rush this shore, and some guy gets pelted with like 300 arrows that came out of nowhere.
Like a fucking Mortal Kombat
It
fatality.
is
so good, and it's so funny. And I think that's what I like about the show, is that they've got moments of hilarity. Like,
oh no, there are some straight funny scenes in like
it's perfect.
Like when she's talking about the wife of the friend who was
Audrey, yeah.
Yeah, so when Audrey is talking about the blowjob and stuff, like in the cemetery, like it's a really sad scene, but it is also really fucking funny at the same time. Like the shit coming out of her mouth is like, it because of the state that she's in, it's really sad, but it's also some of the funniest shit I've ever heard. Like,
she gets better too.
Oh god.
She has captured Audrey, and so the latest episode is all about Laura. And so Audrey shows up, and you get to see their relationship, and you get to see Audrey more so than they expand on her and Laura that the book didn't. But it's in this amazing way where you get to see these actresses just like take these characters and make them amazing. It's so good. But one of the big casting things was Shadow.
Well, right, because and again, this was what I pictured the entire time. I guess maybe just because Shadow does not make me think Caucasian whatsoever.
Which I think is the point.
I think that's why they ultimately went with a black dude, and I was not thrown by that at all. A lot of people were, though. A lot of people were legitimately like, no, I did not think that would be, like, I didn't think he was black at all.
We coming after your literary heroes. We got Shadow, and we got the Gunslinger.
Now, I'm not mad.
That one's
I'm not mad. Hang on, I'm the gunslinger for just half a second. I'm not.
And when they reboot it, we taking him too. God damn.
I have no problem with the gunslinger being black. Granted, in the graphic novels, he's depicted as Caucasian. In the book, they make no reference to what he is whatsoever. So I have no problem with that.
Besides
I have a
Idris
huge
Elba,
problem
who cares
with
shit?
that he isn't doing his gunplay the way that it's supposed to be done, because that's just kind of instrumental. We'll do some Dark Tower shit later.
I just really hope there's one guy like mad crazy that there's a conspiracy for black people to take literary.
People were pissed.
No.
People
That's
were
not one dude.
pissed.
That's a lot of dudes.
They're so
coming
pissed about
after
Dark
all.
Tower. It's yeah. So yeah, but one of the big things about casting for this has always been, whether it was going to be a movie, a TV show, whatever, was casting Shadow. Because trying to find somebody who... Shadow's a big guy. Like, he's big. He's
Yeah.
supposed to be scary on sight. Like, somebody who you'd be like, don't think I want to mess with you. Even though, kind of deep down, he's really not. Like, he'll throw blows if he has to.
Which was nice, because he, what's the actor's name? They got to play, who's playing Shadow?
Ricky Whittle.
Ricky Little, he isn't, like, just naturally scary like that. He's big, so he's intimidating naturally.
Yeah.
So all he has to do is kind of put on an angry face.
Like slowly stand up from the table and just tower over.
Yeah, and just kind of generically look pissed, which he does through most of the show.
Yes.
Because I mean, he is literally just in one of the, like, he thinks he might be losing his mind, which he quite well could be. Like, that,
Yes.
you know, always is left a little bit ambiguous, just to a certain extent. I mean, well, I don't know. I never finished the book. Is that, like, fleshed out more toward the end of the book as to whether or not he's crazy or not? Because that was one of the fun parts of the book, is that, like, he was a sort of unreliable narrator.
Well, he's a very unreliable narrator. But it kind of becomes more reality.
Okay. All right. I got about halfway through the book in high school, and I dropped it at that point. So
Yeah.
that seemed to be the way that it was. It was. Well, I didn't drop it. I either lost it or had to return it to the library, and then never got back on it.
Right.
But in any case, yeah, that was one of the only getting through half of the book. It was still very, very unclear by that point, because I think by that, like, I'm not far off in the series now, technically, from where I basically, like, left off, like, in the book and the story and everything. And at that point, it was still very, very unclear. Like, Mr. Wednesday wouldn't be straightforward with him about whether or not he was seeing things or not.
Right.
But he definitely alluded to the fact, like, but you might be crazy. Like, I might not be saying these things to you the way that you think I'm saying it. Like, that kind of, like, just like, yeah, you might be totally just seeing shit. And that was always a lot of fun with that. And that's been fun to watch with this, too, is that, like, you know, you see things that, like, oh, you think that's going to be, like, the damnable evidence and everything. And then it's like, yeah, but he was alone when it happened.
Right. Or there is one, okay, so it's not this episode, not the fourth episode, the third episode. Not really spoilers, though. But they're having a conversation, and Wednesday tells him to think snow. Think snow, think snow,
Still
think
doesn't
snow.
prove, I mean, granted, yes, the
And
weather...
no, but that's the thing, is that it happens, and Shadow asks him, did I make that? And Wednesday goes, I don't know. Did you? And just kind of, if you did, that means that you can believe in anything. That you can do anything because you made snow. If you don't believe in it, then you don't believe he did it. It's just like, he answers in such an ambiguous way.
That made my head hurt.
Well, and that's it. And that's kind of his point, is that, like, maybe I'm not going to tell you outright if you did or not, because you're not going to believe me if I said yes. So you got to come to that conclusion yourself. If you didn't, you didn't. If
Wednesday's
you did,
philosophy on the power of belief, which is what most of the book is really about. The whole concept, if nobody's even heard about this before, is that gods are real because we believe in them, and they are literally fueled by the power of our beliefs. And not just them, any concept. Like, one of the first things Mr. Wednesday talks about with Shadow is the concept that maybe the only reasons that planes fly through the air is because a bunch of people sitting on them actually think that it's going to work.
yeah.
Which, I mean, is like, you know, from a scientific background, it's just like, nah,
Yeah,
come
you
on.
got some engineer shaking, like, I can explain it all.
I know 3 or 4 people who just be like, fuck you, no.
But at the same time, you think about it and you go, well, everybody that's on that plane does believe it's going to take off.
Does totally think that that's going to be fine. So yeah, no,
So
it is kind of just one of those, like, you know, and again, like, actually the funny part too on the scientific front is that when you start getting down to the quantum level, perception is everything.
Right.
So belief and perception are pretty linked in our brain in a lot of ways. So it is kind of one of those like.
So if you're on a plane and it goes down, somebody is not believing.
Someone's not
hard
carrying their
enough.
weight.
This is at least the theory that Wednesday is proposing.
Yes. But the rest. Okay, so we kind of touched on it. So it's basically these old gods that the way this universe works is that they thrive on the beliefs of the mortals that worship them. They're brought to America because of the people that believed in them in the old country. And as time goes on, they are growing weaker because people are forgetting them. They are grown to be forgotten. And in such, the new gods are showing up. And those new gods are things like technology and media. And I think at the first episode we meet those two. There's others that we meet later.
Technology, we do Media's episode 2,
No, Media's
Media in
first.
one? Is Media first? No, I thought Media was second.
I don't think so.
Is Media second?
Yeah, I think
Okay.
Media's in the second episode. But Technology is definitely in the first
Technology's
episode.
in the first episode.
And, okay, just gotta say, Media is flawless.
So Media is played by Gillian Anderson.
Playing Lucille Ball.
At this point, she's playing Lucille Ball.
Right, because
She changes. Depending on where Shadow is, she changes. She's I think she's a weather girl at some point, or like a newscaster. She's pretty much anything like TV or radio related, she can tap into that.
Yeah, and it's literally our worship of media.
Yeah.
Of television shows, of what this little
This whole
podcast adventure is about in and of itself. Like,
Yes.
this would be like a church to media right
yeah,
here. Like,
absolutely.
that's what would be going on right here.
Absolutely.
This is my little board right here is the altar to which we offer up thanks and prayers to media. Like,
Yes.
that's basically the concept that this whole thing works on. I love Media. She is phenomenal. That scene was beautiful. And I like pretty much everyone that I've seen so far. Except Technology. I
Technical
am
boy, yeah.
not...
I've been hearing a lot of this.
What were they even going for? I'm just gonna ask that because, like, I think that they were going for some millennial who I'm not entirely convinced is even a person that exists. Like, it was a very confusing. I'm like, what is with your hair right now?
So-
What is this Dr. Seuss hairdo you have fucking going on at this moment? Why are you in a tracksuit? What is happening right now?
I think, okay, so originally Technical Boy in the book is supposed to be this overweight kid. Basically, take any, like,
The typical, fat nerd
yeah,
computer dude from the 90s.
Exactly. And I think that's what they were trying to kind of steer away from.
Well, fine, but there's about a million ways. Like, and I get going for, like, a douchey young guy. How do you not go with hipster in the man bun? Like, especially with, like, I mean, like, no. But,
yeah, but hipsters tend, like, you gotta go with the technology thing.
That's true, the technology thing. I mean...
Like, I don't see why we didn't just go with the fat guy, man.
I honestly, like,
have
that's still kind of, like, who lives on the internet as, like, a troll? Like, and that kind of is who technology is. He's a troll. He was Neil Gaiman was talking about troll before that word had been applied to that type of person. Like, that's what technology was. He's got, like, he just, like, talks mad shit. Like, just literally swears as often as he can for just absolutely no reason, kind of just to sound cool. And, like, he's got, like, these two guys who, like, do everything for me. And, like, he doesn't do anything himself. He's got people to, like, beat people up for him and stuff. And, like,
well, those faceless lackeys, though. Like, if that's not, like, internet, I don't know what is.
That's exactly it. So, like, why is that not... It's got, like, why is it at least not... If you weren't gonna do, like, the fat, like, greasy dude, why didn't you do, like, the skinny, like, tiny, like, guy, like, the one that you're just like, he doesn't have, like, access to assault weapons, right? Like nobody's, like, giving him access, because he's gonna shoot up a school. Like,
yeah.
Like, why... Like, you could have gone that route with him. Instead, like, again, like, you've got some pseudo Dr. Seuss character that I don't totally understand. Like, the attitude's right. The guy's playing him very well, but what is going on?
At the same time, though, you really want to punch him in the face. Like, he shows up and you're like, man,
Like,
you haven't even
I
opened your
hate
mouth yet
you.
and I don't like you.
I suppose that is true. I suppose that is true.
Like, he kind of encompasses that whole, like, oh, I just want to
I mean, I guess if
punch you in
that
the
was
face.
their angle, to just literally like, hey, how obnoxious can we make one human being like how
Yes.
how can we make somebody just look punchable on sight?
Yeah.
I guess then they probably did do quite well at achieving that, like that, because yeah, you do just immediately like, oh,
You know who he
fuck
kind of
you.
reminds me of? Joffrey from Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Yes, which I think, and
I
again,
think
like
that might be part of it.
that's all from the way that he's playing him,
Yeah.
and I think that's perfect. I think that's exactly what you need for Technology Boy, because I think Joffrey is in Game of Thrones. Joffrey is that guy.
He is.
Like 1,000 that spoiled little douchey piece of shit that just wants to just shout obscenities and things at the world and have everything go his
I am
way.
now imagining Joffrey with a Twitter. It is the greatest goddamn
It'd be
thing.
this guy! It'd be this guy!
Should see if anyone's gotten that yet.
Yeah. Oh.
Ned Stark thought he was safe. Lol.
I mean, you're kind of like 3 years too late, but fuck it.
Right? Exactly.
Oh man. But yeah, no, he like that's literally like my one big complaint. There's like I said, there's some aesthetics that I didn't see coming that weren't what I pictured, but none of them are at all problematic to me. Like
No.
Tech Boy was literally the only one that was just kind of like, ugh. And part of it too was that his whole world is very heavily CGI done, which
Yes.
you know makes a lot of sense, but same time is like, again, they don't have the greatest CGI budget. You can tell they spent a lot more time on like, we're gonna be able to pay some really good actors really, really well, and we're gonna put like the best costume designers and set designers and cinematographers on this shit, and we'll throw everything else that we have left over into CGI,
Yeah.
Right.
which I'm okay with. Again,
I mean, and it's not so bad that it breaks the story.
no,
I mean,
not at
No.
all, not at
it's
all.
just bad enough where you go, that kind of sucks. So you're back
Right.
in it.
You just see a little bit of it.
Yeah.
But they don't lack in that title sequence. Because holy shit.
Okay, actually, I do have some small beats about the title sequence.
I
Really?
like it.
I love it.
I love what they were going for with it, but here's what it feels like to me. I feel like that like the head writer like turned to his staff and went, and hey, we got this idea to do like this big totem in the intro, so everybody like just write like a list of ideas and like just like send them in to me. And then instead of like going through those and then picking the best ones, he literally just handed all of the lists from all of the writers to like a CGI team. Here, we want a totem made of this, and focus in on different parts as you go up it. What? There's like 80 goddamn things here. How the fuck am I supposed to fit all this in? I don't know, like, just kind of like a rain. How is this all gonna fit on a totem? What? How big is this totem? Like, where am I putting this shit on this totem? Is there a pyramid that this totem, like, goes up to that all these things are on? Sure. Am I supposed to showcase all that? Well, no, we really want to focus on the totem. Then why the fuck are all these things? That's what I just hear that conversation taking place every time I hear the intro. Because there's a lot of good stuff, but there's so much of it.
There's a lot.
It's so fast, and it feels like a really good idea that people had way too many good sub ideas for that then got super rushed and just kind of like
Well, to be fair, that's kind of the book too. Is like just like this over, and a lot of
okay.
well,
That's-
and even like the show itself is very much. It's very that like highly saturated, like attack your eyes kind of thing. Like okay, the blood alone. Like you get this like 300-esque like blood splatter.
Oh, this is
things
this is
explode.
beyond 300. This is like straight like Tarantino.
Somebody
fucking...
gets punched and they explode into this
Just buckets.
Yeah,
Actually,
it is.
you know what?
That's
This
what it is,
could
buckets.
probably make Tarantino blush, to be perfectly honest. Like
Probably.
that's how much fucking blood we're talking about. Like absolute, I think this gives Kill Bill a run for its money. I'm thinking about Kill Bill and some of the more gory scenes, and it's still just like, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think there were still like 4 more buckets of blood
Because that's literally, it's not even spray. It's just like waves.
Yeah, no, it's literally like
of blood.
No, actually, I saw a bit of like a documentary about them making it, and like they brought a bunch of blood to like one of like the first like shots they were gonna be doing it with, and the director's first comment was, "This isn't gonna be enough."
Yeah.
Like literally, no, I want completely unrealistic, sloppy, slushy amounts of blood, just kind of like sloshing out of like not spraying the way that it should be under high pressure, just kind of sloshing in an explodey type of manner.
Yeah.
See, I really didn't realize how important blood was to like a movie or something until you see some of a movie that does it poorly, like CGI blood was the craze for a while there. Like getting dirty and sloppy with the like Tarantino. That's what it's about.
Oh no! First of all, if you can do a practical effect, do a practical effect. Do you want to know why the latest Star Trek movies looked so good? Because a shitload of it wasn't CGI.
Yeah.
Like pretty much just the ship shit on the outs, like the stuff taking place outside of the ship between ships, like space battles. That was CGI. That was about it. Everything else pretty much was done with practical effects for all three of those movies. And you know what? It looked real because they were filming some real shit. Like, amazingly, when you film most of it real and then touch it up with CGI, you get great results.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the actors are actually moving things and not looking at a tennis ball.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes. And some of your characters are like, played by actors instead of just like being a tennis ball. Like, I'm gonna have a whole conversation with this tennis ball here. That's gonna be awesome. You're gonna get some really, really charged acting out of him trying to bounce his energy off of no one.
This fuzzy green ball.
But going back to the opening again, like my problem with it is just the music. Like I think I'm spoiled by theme songs now because this one is just.
That's true.
It's not memorable. It's terrible.
It really is just a lot of
like the show that has an opening that kind of feels like it would fit in with this particular show is like I think True Blood. True Blood.
That's what I was gonna say.
That's just like okay, I'm getting into it. I was just like I'm ready for the show to start with American Gods.
And also, you know what? I didn't realize this.
I think True Blood too.
Until you mentioned, and True Blood's opening sounds more American, just in its composition in general.
More deep South American.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, and just American, like you could have picked something else, but I didn't even think about it until like yes, the old gods who are a bigger focus in a lot of ways than the new gods and everything are from different places. But they're all stuck here, and actually based on a lot of dialogue, it's very possible that they're not even the original gods, that they're these other, newer version of those old gods anyway. Like, Wednesday makes allusion, like, first of all, Wednesday talks about the multiple different Jesuses that exist and everything. And then talks about the fact that he's never been outside of America. Like, he makes that comment as well. And so it's kind of like one of those, like, so he wasn't really... Those people just on that island that one day believed hard enough that that they created a god. They just created a god and then left him on the shores of America in the image of an old god that was back in their country.
Exactly.
Right.
So, like,
like
so it is ultimately...
That's exactly what it is.
So it is truly, ultimately, they are all American gods. And it part of what he was talking about is the cultures from various places around the world coming together and forming a much bigger, newer culture and everything. That was kind of one of the big metaphors of this whole book.
Right.
So wouldn't your theme song, shouldn't it be really American? Shouldn't it be like really American? I know that you went for the gods angle, but maybe the American angle was the more important one to go for on this.
That's the kind of thing, like, I kind of dig the environment of True Blood a little bit more for something like this, where it's like kind of dirty and in there. I don't know, it just feels a little clean cut.
Well, I mean,
the show does.
I don't know if the show does, in certain respects, but
when it's kind of portraying the underside of everything, it still seems a little clean. I don't know.
Okay,
it's a weird...
I could see that. I could see that.
That's fair.
Although you haven't gotten to the Russian yet.
Okay,
no.
well, yeah, I still got time to go. So.
Yeah, you've got some time, and really, we haven't even broken the surface of this story.
Yeah,
we're 4 episodes in, and we're not even... I want to say we're maybe 3 chapters into the book. Maybe 4. Maybe.
Something like that. Yeah, it's not very far in.
We're not very far in.
Yeah. But this is a phenomenal interpretation, though. I'm super excited to see where it goes.
Yeah.
But as for right now, we are running up toward our hour mark and everything, and we got a late start here today. So we're going to go ahead and wrap this up for the evening. Not sure what we're going to be talking about when we come back next month, but I'm sure it will be good. I know exactly what we'll be talking about. By this point, we'll be able to talk spoilers on Guardians of the Galaxy. So we'll come back and talk that when we come back at the top of next month. But until then, you all have yourselves a good evening. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
The music for the Geek for All show has been provided by Fat Street Beats, Ben Sound, and Purple Planet. Please support their individual pages.